In this video, you're going to learn about costs of purchasing a property. For those people who are actually first time buying property, they always think that buying a property just need a 10% down, or people lack of knowledge of buying property, they will only think that down payment is all the payment that they need to pay. There are additional costs when it comes to buying a property, not just the down payment. So you would also need to pay for the legal fees for the sales and purchase agreement (SPA), and you also need to pay for this facilities agreement, which we also call it the loan agreement. So, and also those documents you need to take it to stamp, okay, and the loan agreement as well. So, but lawyer, they will do charges not only on legal fees and miscellaneous charges like disbursement fee, and also the government will actually collect a stamp duty on the ownership transfer, as well as if you are taking a bank loan, probably you will need to buy an insurance. So those are the fees that when you're purchasing a property, those are the costs that you need to consider and take it into account. So let's talk about the 10% down payment. This is pretty much straightforward. So 10% down payment, that means the initial payment to confirm to purchase the property. This is pretty standard. It's quite standard, a 10% down. So when it comes to an agreement, no matter you're buying a new property or a secondary market or sub-sales property, it's always 10% as a standard, unless in the sub-sales market, secondary market, the owner and buyer agree to sign a 20% down payment agreement. But in a standard agreement, usually it's 10% down. So this is between the purchaser paying to the seller or to the developers. It depends, you buy on sub-sales, secondary market, or you buying from the primary market directly from the developers. So 10% down payment is paying to the seller or the developer. So who responsible for this? Of course, the purchaser, means the buyer. And secondly, when you buy a property, you need to have an instrument. You need to have an agreement binding with the seller and the purchasers. So we call it in the short term SPA or SNP, sales and purchase agreement. Sorry, there's a no S behind answer. Sales and purchase agreement, SPA. This agreement is binding between the seller and the purchasers, so both of them have to sign. So the seller, if you're buying a new one, you're buying from developer, so developer and the purchasers. So this agreement is by them, signing by both of them, both parties. So who are responsible for this? Of course, buyer have to appoint a lawyer to do this. And of course, if you're buying a property, you are not buying cash. I believe 90% of the people are actually getting a bank loan. So when you get a bank loan, you need a facilities agreement. This is the right term to use, but most of us actually understand if you're taking a loan, we call it a loan agreement. But when you take that document, you can't find a loan agreement on that paper. You will see a facilities agreement, so don't be surprised. So this agreement is actually between bank and the borrower. That means the purchaser as well. So but why we use borrow? Because you're borrowing money from the bank. So it's also the purchaser. So bank between the purchaser. So the borrower means the purchaser need to appoint a lawyer to do this agreement. And after all the agreements has been done, okay, and agreed to sign, and you need to validate it, okay. So you need to validate it next time when you bring to court, okay. In terms of legalized validations, SPA, you need to pay a stamp duty, alright. So SPA stamp duty is form of tax, alright, but this one is quite cheap. It's below 100 or within 120. Usually you will have 4 copies of stamping, and each copy is actually 10 ringgit. So we call it SPA stamping, but don't mix up. Usually people mix up SPA stamping and the MOT stamping, because people also call this MOT as a SPA stamping, especially when you're using those mobile app, they will show SPA stamping is actually the MOT. But there's a small amount of documentation stamping fee. This one is 10 ringgit. So imagine the SPA you have saw 4 set. So this is how much? 40 ringgit. So this is a tax, and you have to pay to the tax department, LHDN. So it's borne by the purchaser. So the loan agreement, you also have the stamp duty. Of course, this one will be much more higher than the 10 ringgit per copy, because this is this involved in money, borrowing money from the bank. So they will charge based on your loan amount. Later we will show a table on how much you need to pay. So loan agreement stamp duty is also form of tax. You pay to the tax department, LHDN, and borne by the borrower, means the purchaser as well. So loan agreement and SPA, usually usually the lawyer that you have appointed, they will charge you a disbursement fee. This disbursement fee usually will sit in new property. When you're dealing with developers, you will see when you're buying a project, or we call it primary sales, then you will see lawyer will charge a disbursement fee. But in the sub-sales, okay, and second-hand property, the solicitors will charge this as a miscellaneous charges. Like those, you need to put a caveat. Caveat means 冻结. Okay, when people, you pay deposit down payment 10% already, lawyer actually can put a caveat, CAVEAT. So this caveat, when they put in the land office, they caveat the property 冻结那个 property. So the next buyer cannot pay. When the next buyer, then when the owner want to sell to the next buyer, the lawyer will do a land search. They will check, why got people caveat this property? Okay, then they will check what is the caveat's purpose. So they will caveat the purpose, say, in the midst of transferring the property. So when they transfer already, they will release a caveat. So that caveat also you need to pay like 700 plus to put in the charge and also discharge. And others miscellaneous charges, like they help you to send letter, they help you to draft letter, 150, transportation fee 50, mobile charges, whatsoever things are. So they charge it like 1,500 to 2,000, okay, usually. So for second-hand property, for developer, they usually also charge a lump sum like 1,500 to 2,000, depends on different developers lawyer how they charge. So between who? This is between the solicitors, means the lawyer. Who have to bond it? Purchaser have to bond it. The last two one, MOT stamp duty. This is the most heavy tax that you need to pay. But this one, if you're buying a new property, especially like condominium, service apartment, so this one will pay only after the property completion. After VP, within 12 to 24 months, you need to pay the stamp duty. So we call it memorandum of transfer. It's transferring the title, transferring the ownership from the developers to the buyer, to the purchaser's name. That means they have to separate, they have to subdivide the title first. 他们要把地契分出来，然后从发展商的名字转去买者的名字。So when that time, when the transfer, you need to pay a tax. Okay, we will show you later how much is this. This is most costly one. So at the same time, this tax is actually paying to tax department, okay, LHDN. And this one you can see is actually who need to pay. We call it transferee. Who receive the title? The people who, the purchaser who receive. So it's transferee. So it's actually purchaser also. I just use the correct term. And MRTA, mortgage reducing term assurance. Actually, there are two types. Later we actually come and understand what is MRTA and MLTA, either one. So explanation, mortgage reducing terms insurance. So it's an insurance that if any one of the borrower pass away, the family members don't have to continue to pay the loan. So it's actually between the insurance company and the borrower. That means who have to pay? Borrower. It's all by the purchasers need to pay. So it's not only 10% down payment you need to make and the rest of the things. So meaning to say, if you're buying a sub-sales property, so what are the charges? What are the costs that you need to pay for all this? Add up together. Later will come into calculations. So let's talk about how to calculate the sales and purchase agreement. Of course, nowadays we have apps, so much easier for us to calculate. So this is the scale of fees by Bar Council 律师公会. That every few years they will change, okay, they will increase. So this is the latest one. For the first 500,000 they charge 1%. So meaning to say, if your price S&P price is 500,000, 你的买卖合约是500千, then they will charge on this 1%. Okay, but of course subject to a minimum charges of 500. So meaning that if property like 40 over 1,000 month, they charge 1% is how much? 400 plus ma. So 40,000 month they charge 400, cannot law, they have to charge a minimum 500. But what sort of property is 40,000? Flat lah, I think. Okay, very ulu places are flat, low cost flat. Alright, so if your property price more than 500,000, so the subsequent one will be calculated on 0.8%. That means they will break down. So this is how to calculate the legal fees. So example, the first 500,000 is 1%. Okay, for a property we bought at for property we bought at 600,000. Okay, let me give you an example. Can you see here? Alright, see, for a property you bought at 600,000, the legal fee will be the first 500,000 1%. So the next 100,000, okay, the next tier, because 600,000 the first 500 were already calculated, so 100,000 will fall into the next category. So between, we say for the subsequent 500,000, so that means 500,001 to 1 million is 0.8. So your next 100,000 is 0.8%. That means 5,800. So total up is 5,008. But because these usually nowadays legal fees, they can be discounted. Bar Council allowed them to discount like 20 to 30%. But most of the legal firm, they actually one business and quite competitive, can go up to 50%. Alright, and if you're doing sub-sales, of course the legal firm will actually give you a referral fee if you refer a case. But if you sell developer units, that one is appointed by developer, they won't pay you a referral fee. So referral fee can be few hundred to few thousands, depends on your legal fees. Like example, this one legal fee is 5,008. If the lawyer didn't give any discount to the purchaser, so maybe you'll get 30% on the fee, sharing a referral fee. So it depends how much is your property. This is the tier. So one thing I have to highlight is both instrument, okay, like S&P and loan, they also based on this scale of fee, but they were based on different price. S&P is the selling price on your agreement. But if you're taking a loan, example 90%, they won't base on 500. They will based on your loan amount to charge you the legal fees. Let's have a look. So the legal fees basically are the same scale of fee, just the difference that I mentioned just now is based on the loan amount, isn't the S&P. So this one will be lesser. Alright. Okay. So if you want an easy way, you go to download Easy Law. Last time I was using Home Calculator. Okay, but Home Calculator, when you want to calculate the mortgage loan, you have to type in the loan the purchase price, and you have to calculate yourself outside the calculator how much down payment you need to pay equal to how many thousand. Okay, but this one is much more easy. You just key in your mortgage, that means your purchase price, how much is your purchase price. I think I have a sample here. Yeah, so it's much more easier. So this is the sample. They can actually calculate your legal fees, your stamp duty, your mortgage loan, your real property gain tax, okay, and also late delivery charges by the developers. So you can see, example 500,000, you go to legal fees and click on buy and sell. So you just put in the purchase price 500,000. So if the lawyer give you legal fees 50% discount, so it will reflect it on here. I just keep it 0 first. So if legal fee, this one is only applied to legal fee. The stamp duty cannot be discount. Okay, that one is paid to the tax department. So you don't ask for discount for stamp duty. Alright. So you see, when you click calculate, your legal fee is 5,000, and discount is 0, so you have to pay legal fees of 5,000. So plus the SST 6%. So stamp duty, okay, don't get it wrong. This stamp duty isn't that stamp duty that they mentioned here. It's not the MOT. It's not the SPA stamp duty. This is only a few couple of few. It is a very low amount, 10 bucks per copy only. Okay, 10 ringgit per copies. But this one is the one is actually mentioning SPA stamp duty is the MOT. Okay, is the MOT. So you can see 9,000. It's very heavy one. This is MOT. Okay, and legal stamp duty for loan agreement. Okay, legal fee for loan. So I, instead of putting 500,000, now I click loan, come here, I put 450, 90% ma, 500 times 90%, I take a loan. So legal fees is 4,005. Same, if you give you a discount, if you're using the same lawyer, basically they will give you the same discount lah, normally. So this is SST charges. And stamp duty for loan agreement, 2250. Can you see? That's a loan agreement stamp duty here. Loan agreement stamp duty. Yes. Alright. So how they charge is actually 0.5%. This one, 0.5%, then you get the answer on here. Then also how to use the mortgage loan. Example, I like to use this app is because you don't have to, key in figure how many thousand for your down payment. You just click in the amount that your purchase price and key in how many percent, 90%, 85%, it will automatically calculate the loan amount already. So you just key in the interest rate, how many years you want to borrow. The maximum is 35 years. So people who actually have 35 years old and below, they can get a maximum 35 years loan up to 70 years old. So total payable is after 35 years, okay, the interest you have to pay lah, okay, out from here. So total, the capital that you borrow and also the interest, this is the total payment that you have paid. And most important, we want the answer is monthly installment, how much that you're paying for repayment. So how to calculate the MOT, stamp duty fee for the instrument of transfer. MOT, which means memorandum of transfer, the stamp duty for the MOT. So for the first 100,000 is 1%. For the next 400,000 is 2%. Why I say 400,000? Because this will be start from not 0. It start from 100,000 001. So from here to 500,000 is 400,000 only. So after exit 500,000, 500,001 to 1 million. That means the next 500,000, because from here to here is 500,000. So the next 500,000. So if you exit 1 million, it will be 1001 and above is 4%. So it depends how much is your property price. Okay, depends how much. Usually you buy a new property, it will depends on the S&P price. S&P price. If you're buying a sub-sales property, it's a different story already. They will base on the valuation. So see whichever is greater. It won't follow. If your S&P price is greater, is the value is bigger, is greater than the valuation, then will follow your S&P price. Okay, the government valuation will follow your S&P price. If the valuation is greater, but your S&P you do lower valuations, then it still will remain follow the government valuation. Okay, they can see a transaction one because every document also have to stamp, so they have the valuation department got the record. All right, but for new property they will follow your S&P price. So how we actually calculate a 500,000? We take a 500,000 as example. For instance, the purchaser of a property worth 500,000 would put you in the first 2 tiers. Hence, 1% of 100,000 and 2% and the 2% of 400,000. That means it's split lah. Because your property is only 500,000. So tell me, 500,000 is only up to 2 tier only. Okay, 2 tier. So the first 100,000 and the next 400,000. So it's come to 1% of first 100,000 is 1,000. 2% of the next 400,000 is 8,000. So total stamp duty you have to pay 9,000. All right, 9,000. Okay, so let's do an exercise. If your property price is 600,000, how much? Let's do a calculation. So same thing, here is 1,000, correct? And here is 8,000, same thing, because it's standard already. If your property size is 500,000, you can straight away tell your customer is 9,000. Okay, if your property price is exceed 600,000, so you will come into the third tier already. So the third tier will be 100,000 times 3% equal to 3,000. Alright, why? Because the first 100,000 fall into first tier, the next 400,000 fall into this tier, and your property price is now 600,000, so the last 100,000 fall into this tier, so it's 3%. Alright, so what if your so how much together in total? So 1,000, 8,000 is 9 plus the 3,000. So how much you need to pay for 600,000? So add up is 12,000. Just now was how much? Just now was 500,000 is 9,000 stamp duty. This is 500,000 property is 9,000. So do you understand this? And what about if my property is 1 million? So which means 500,000 here. Then how much is that? Yes, exactly 15,000. So that's 1, 8, 15. So it's 23, correct? 23,000. So for a 1 million property, sorry, 24,000. For a 1 million property, it's standard. It's 24,000. Because the first 100,000 is here, the next 400,000 is here. Okay. The next 400,000. And the next 500,000. So add up is 145 is 1 million. So you see, up to 1 million. So it's by tier. So you need to pay 24,000. But anything above 1 million, example, what if my property is 1.5? So, which means your another 500,000 will fall into this category and times 4%. And it's 20,000 here. So all in all, now how much? The higher your value is, the higher you need to pay. So 44,000. So for a 1.5 million property, you need to pay 44,000. That's how it calculates. Alright. So stamp duty for a loan agreement is straightforward. It's 0.5% of your loan amount. Okay. So it's 0.5% of your loan amount. So example, if you're purchasing a 500,000 property, you borrow a 90% loan. Okay. So based on 450,000, it calculates. It's just like the example that we showed just now. Okay. The loan legal fee is 540 times 0.5%, this one, and it's 2007. So it's quite straightforward. But of course, now we have Easy Law. We have all these apps, so you just can key in here to get the entire amount. It's much more easier for the MOT. Let's take 600,000 property price as an example. So for instance, you are buying a second-hand house from the secondary market. So items that you need to pay is a 10% down payment on a 600,000 property. So the cost is 60,000. So imagine the SPA legal fees, you get a 50% off on the legal fees 5,008, so you need to pay 2,009. On a loan legal fee 540,000, you get a 50% discounted legal fees as well, so it's 2,007. So on SPA and loan disbursement is 2,000 because usually lawyer will charge you, they make some monies from here. don't forget, because they have to pay somehow, you know, a referral fee, or they have discounted to you. So miscellaneous charges, usually they will charge full. And loan agreement stamp duty, 540,000 times 0.5%, so it will be 2007. So on MOT, memorandum of transfer, so it's about 12,000. MRTA, actually you can finance into your loan roughly about 4%. It's also depend on your age and the property price and the tenure that you're actually getting a bank loan, how long from the bank. So it's 16,000. So all in all, you need to pay for a secondary market, a second house for of 600,000. You need to fork up 103,820, your initial payment. So let's have a look on the off the plan. That means a primary market, a project, a new property. Okay, we call it off the plan. So 10% down payment of a 600,000 property. Somehow developer maybe gives you 10% rebates or more. They will offset your first down payment, so it's zero. So SPA legal fees absorbed by developer. Loan legal fees, usually new projects, they were absorbed by developers. SMP loan legal fee absorbed by developers, but this is depends on. Sometimes we have to refer back to the summary in our atlas, so you can see whether this is absorbed or some of the developers they need to pay. But for Exim project, all these are actually, you know, absorbed. I will show you an example later on the summary. So loan legal fee stamp duty, loan agreement stamp duty absorbed by developers. For Exim projects, usually these four items are absorbed. So MOT, we don't talk about the home ownership campaign that starting from 2020 to 2021, 31st of May. That one is actually a exemption, tax exemption from the government. But usually MOT is borne by the purchasers, so you need to pay after the completions. So MRTA you finance into your loan. So what your initial payment for this is actually the 12,000 after you take the property. So basically, if you compare to a second-hand house, okay, but the advantages for a second-hand house for those are actually you can buy something that you can see, you can touch, you can judge the locations by the surrounding, because it's completed already. You can judge, you can see, you can touch you can judge the workmanship. Okay, for people who actually want to move in fast, of course they will consider a secondary. But for an investor or maybe a first-time home buyer, people will actually more prefer on buying this property because the initial costs are low, the entry cost is low. All right, so let's look at the MRTA right now. Okay, so that's the main difference that buying a ready property and also off the plan a new property from developers. All right, so they will save a lot of costs, and in terms of cash flow, they have more things that they can plan. So if they because if you're buying a sub-sales property, you also need to fork up for renovation, right? So if you're buying a new property, after 4 years, so you secure a property first, you don't have to fork up so much. What you need to do is actually to get a bank loan, and you have time to save the money, for the renovation. Let me show you some example on the summary of our project fact sheet. So if you come to your atlas, you can see IQI Drive here, and you can go to Malaysia and different states. Let's take KL as example. You go into main project, and you just simply find a project that you want to find out. Maybe we will take Feeder Woods. Okay, where's Feeder Woods? The Feeder Woods. So when you click into Feeder Woods already, then you can see usually KL project we can find, especially those main project, we can find summary here. So what is the summary? As you can see here, this is a summary. So I just shortcut because I have downloaded this PDF. I just want to show you this part. Alright, and you can see the package. Usually under the sales package, you can see the SMP legal fee. SMP legal fee absorbed by developer, disbursement absorbed, loan agreement. This project is by Exim, loan disbursement, loan agreement fee, and loan stamp duty absorbed as well. The only thing buyer have to pay is the MOT. Alright, so this is how you find the project that is it absorbed. Let me give you another example. If we go to different project on different states, example, if we go to Ipoh, Perak, we just simply pick one, Anderson. Different state, you have different kind of summary. I mean the outlook of the fact sheet, and you find project summary, and okay, you will see it's slightly different on here, but more or less similar lah, huh? And you also can see the same thing. This is bond by developer, and only things that bond by purchasers are, oh, sorry, this one is S&P legal fees bond by developer, disbursement for SPA bond by developer. The rest, purchaser have to pay. Can you see the difference? So you have to check. How you check is actually you check it from the summary. Okay, if you can't find a summary in a project, meaning to say some of the project are maybe ad hoc. Ad hoc means we are not focusing on that project. You can find the project admin to find out the details on this. Alright, okay.